Pretty much every company has a mission statement, right? Something big, bold, and inspiring hanging on a wall somewhere. But how do you actually connect that lofty goal to the real work your team is doing on a Tuesday morning? That's the billion-dollar question. How do you translate that big picture mission into real, measurable results? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how you build that bridge.
It's a problem that keeps a lot of leaders up at night. You've got this powerful, motivating mission, but it just feels disconnected from the daily grind. So how do you actually do it? The good news is there's a really clear, structured way to connect the dots. And it all begins with building a rock-solid foundation.
Okay, so before we can even think about measuring stuff, we have to build that foundation. Seriously, think of it like building a house. If that foundation is shaky, everything you try to build on top of it is just going to crumble. This is all about getting crystal clear on the why behind everything your organization does.
First up, the mission. Now, this isn't some goal for the future, it's your organization's core purpose, right here, right now, in the present tense. A great way to think about it is, if your company suddenly vanished tomorrow, what would the world actually lose? The answer to that question? That's your mission.
So if the mission is your why, then the vision is your where. It's that mountain peak you're all climbing towards together. It's that vivid, exciting picture of the future that you're trying to create. It gives everyone a clear destination to aim for, a North Star to guide them.
All right, you've got your why, the mission, and your where, the vision. The strategic plan is the how. It's the detailed roadmap that's going to get you from here to there. It's all about how you'll use your resources, your people, your time, your money, to make that vision a reality. These three things, mission, vision, and plan, they're the absolute bedrock for everything else we're about to cover.
Okay, with our foundation firmly in place, the next question is kind of obvious. How do we know if our plan is actually working? To answer that, we need a way to measure our progress, and that brings us to metrics. But here's the key. It's not about measuring everything, it's about measuring the right things.
And this is absolutely crucial. Not all metrics are created equal. You can basically split them into two critical types. On one side, you've got lagging indicators. Think of these as looking in the rearview mirror. They confirm what's already happened, like last quarter's sales numbers. Then you've got leading indicators. These are predictive. They're like looking at the dashboard. They measure the inputs and actions you can take today to influence the results you'll get tomorrow.
So let's make this real. Here are some great examples of leading indicators. They're all about the process itself. Things you can control, like schedule compliance or how long a work order takes. These are the dials you can turn and the levers you can pull in real time. This is about steering the ship, not just looking at the wake it leaves behind.
And on the flip side, here are some classic lagging indicators. Things like total maintenance cost or asset availability. Now, don't get me wrong, these numbers are incredibly important for confirming your long-term trends. But by the time you measure them, the performance that drove them is already in the past. They're the final score of the game, not the individual plays that led to the win.
And this is exactly why relying only on lagging indicators is like trying to drive a car by looking only in the rearview mirror. It tells you where you've been, but not where you're going. But focusing only on leading indicators is risky too, because you might lose track of the actual outcome. The secret, the real sweet spot, is having a balanced set of KPIs, key performance indicators, that gives you a complete, holistic view of the business.
So what does that holistic view actually look like? Well, this is a great way to visualize it. It's not just about the money. A truly balanced approach looks at the financial perspective for sure, but it also pays close attention to your customer, your internal business processes, and, just as important, your team's learning and growth. If you neglect any one of these, the whole system can get wobbly.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you set a concrete target? This slide lays out a super simple but powerful process. First, you set that long-term target, something 3 to 5 years out, and you pull it directly from your vision. Step 2, you figure out which leading and lagging indicators are linked to that goal. And finally, you break that huge goal down into smaller, bite-sized annual and quarterly targets that your team can actually focus on and hit.
So we have our strategy and we have our metrics, but a plan is totally useless if people don't know what their part is. This brings us to the human element, which is just as important, getting the who and the how right by defining roles and expectations so everyone is pulling in the same direction.
And what's the single most effective way to create that clarity? It's simple. Write things down. Describe every key process in writing, and use simple, clear language, no confusing jargon. But here's the critical part.
Make sure everyone involved actually reviews it and agrees to it. This shouldn't be a top-down order. It needs to be a shared understanding.
So why bother with all this? Is it worth the effort? Absolutely. Because when you have this level of clarity, it gives you incredible control. It lets you spot problems and make corrections early. It stops you from wasting resources. And it sets a clear, unambiguous bar for quality. Put simply, it replaces confusion with accountability.
And part of that clarity comes down to two words people often mix up: role and responsibility. A role is your position. It's the hat you wear, like project manager. It comes with a set of expected behaviors. A responsibility, on the other hand, is a specific task you are obligated to complete, like deliver the weekly status report by Friday at noon. Everyone needs to be crystal clear on both their role and their specific responsibilities.
But look, just handing someone a document isn't enough, right? You have to truly empower your team through training. This means creating materials that walk everyone through each phase of a project, that clarify what's expected, and that define what success actually looks like. This is how you guarantee that everyone, from the front lines to the corner office, is aligned and ready to go.
All right, we built the machine. We've even trained the operators. But this is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of system. The final, crucial piece of the puzzle is creating a dynamic process that keeps this whole engine running smoothly and, just as important, helps it adapt to change over time. This quote just nails it. It gets right to the heart of why we measure things in the first place. See, the point of an indicator isn't just to generate a nice-looking report. Its real job is to improve performance by influencing people's behavior. When people know what's being measured, and more importantly, why it matters, they'll naturally adjust what they do to drive that number in the right direction. And that leads us to maybe the most important habit of all: constant review. A strategic plan is not a document that you write once and then let it gather dust on a shelf. The world changes, your markets evolve, and your goals will shift. Your metrics have to evolve with them. This creates this powerful feedback loop that turns your metrics from a static report card into a living, breathing, dynamic part of your strategy.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Your organization is measuring things. I guarantee it. Every business does. But are those measurements, are they really truly connected to your core mission? Are you using a balanced mix of leading and lagging indicators? To put it simply, are you just measuring things, or are you measuring what truly, deeply matters?